All right, let's get into it. Today we are talking about something pretty wild called DataBank. It's this idea that mashes up, believe it or not, rebellious art history with some seriously advanced tech, all to completely reboot digital banking as we know it.
So to really get what DataBank is all about, we got to go back in time. And not to Silicon Valley, no. We're going to Zurich, to an old-school data art stunt. The original DataBank wasn't a bank at all. It was pure performance art, a total provocation. Their whole deal, just randomly giving away money. Not for profit, not for any real reason other than to spark a little joy and support culture. It was totally anti-establishment. And that spirit, well, that's exactly what we're digging into today. And that right there, that's the big question, isn't it? What on earth happens when you take that completely absurd, anti-corporate vibe from 100 years ago and smash it into the super efficient, super centralized banking system we're all stuck with today? I mean, could something like that actually work? Okay, so before we can see how you'd reboot the system, we first have to get a handle on what that system is. Let's talk about the world DataBank is trying to shake up, the digital fortress of modern finance.
I mean, really think about it for a second. Where is your money right now? It's not in a vault down the street. As banking went digital, your entire financial life, every single tap, every swipe, every balance, got packed up and shipped off to these giant, centralized server farms. And who owns them? Just a handful of tech giants. Now sure, it's super efficient, but it also means everything is in one basket, making it unbelievably vulnerable.
And this really lays it all out, side by side. On one hand, you have today's banking, controlled by big tech. Your data is basically a product they harvest and sell, and there's a massive single point of failure. Yikes. But then look at the other column. That's the DataBank vision, controlled by you, the users. Your data is local and private. And because it's spread out, it's decentralized and way more resilient. It's a totally different philosophy. Okay, so we've got the problem on the table. Now, let's get to the good part, the solution. How do you actually reboot this wild old Dadaist idea and make it work with today's technology?
So here's the core concept. DataBank is all about a physically decentralized infrastructure for finance. What does that mean? It means instead of relying on those few giant server farms, the whole network is run by its users, you and me. It's about flipping the entire top-down model of banking completely on its head and turning it into a system that's actually owned by the people in it.
Now that all sounds great, right? Very revolutionary. But what does it actually look like for you, for me? How does this thing work on a day-to-day practical level? Let's get into your bank in a box. Okay, so the heart of this entire system is something called a home node. And don't let the name scare you off. This isn't some huge, complicated server. We are literally talking about using a small device you probably already own. Like a Raspberry Pi, or that old PC collecting dust in the closet. Even one of those little network storage drives works. This little box, that becomes your own personal, tiny, super secure bank branch. And getting involved is surprisingly straightforward. You just set up one of those home nodes. You let it contribute a bit of its resources, storage, processing power, to help the whole network run smoothly. By doing that, you're helping store and verify everything, and for that, you actually earn rewards. It's that simple. You're not just a customer anymore, you're literally part of the infrastructure. And look, this whole idea isn't just some fantasy. It's not happening in a vacuum. It's actually part of this huge growing trend called DePIN. That stands for Decentralized Physical Infrastructure. The whole point is to build real-world stuff like wireless networks or data storage using hardware that's run by a whole community of people, not just one giant corporation. We're already seeing projects like Helium and Filecoin totally crushing it, proving that this model is real and it absolutely works.
All right, now we're getting to my favorite part, the feature that makes DataBank, well, DataBank. This is where all that cool tech we just talked about hooks back up with its crazy, chaotic, artistic roots. Let's talk about the Chaos Protocol. So in any normal financial network, right, the transaction fees pretty much just go to corporate profits and keeping the lights on. But with DataBank, a chunk of every single fee generated by the network gets funneled into something different, something special. You see that highlighted slice right there? That's the Data Fund.
And the whole point of this fund is to bring back that original, rebellious, Dadaist spirit. It's literally programmed to make random, totally unexpected payouts to art projects, community causes, independent creators, you name it. It injects a dose of absurdity and creativity right into the financial code itself. It's about prioritizing these, anti-materialist payouts instead of just chasing pure, boring old profit. So let's step back for a sec. When you put it all together,
this user-owned infrastructure, and this kind of crazy, chaotic philosophy. What's the end game? What's the ultimate goal here? What does a system like this actually achieve?
Well, it really boils down to three huge ideas that are a direct challenge to the way things are now. First up is sovereignty. That means your data stays local, on your device, not on some company's server farm. Second, privacy. It uses some really clever tech like zero-knowledge proofs to keep your interactions totally secure and private. And finally, and this is the big one, user ownership. The people who use the network are the ones who run it, own it, and actually benefit from it.
And really, that's the main takeaway from all this. This isn't just about building a cool new piece of tech for the sake of it. The real goal is to create a financial system that's more resilient, way more private, and honestly, just more interesting as our entire world goes digital. Something a little more human.
So it kind of leaves us with this one big question to chew on, right? As we're building the future of finance, what do we really want it to be? Do we want the organized, predictable, profitable system we have now? Or do we want something that's maybe a bit more creative, a little more chaotic, and is actually truly owned by you?